So as a facilitator, I am genuinely expecting you all to interact during the session so that it is engaging and fun and not just me, talking all by myself, right? So I truly appreciate if all of you turned on your cameras, if you're comfortable only, that is. It'll be really nice to see all your faces and have a talk. And I hope you all have a really good evening. So we will be starting in another few minutes after a lot more people come. Okay, till then you can take some time, and if you're willing, please interact and turn on your cameras. And I would like to know, before we get started, I would just like to start on a lighter note. So how are you all feeling today? Please feel free to respond. This is going to be a fun session, so I don't want to be the only one talking. It'll be really nice to hear from you all as well. Okay, so I would like to know how you all are doing. How was your day? I see a lot of names here. It'll be really nice if I heard from you. There is Ruhi Sayed, Shilpa, Safna, Mariam Binha, Sumaya, Liba, Naseem. So many of you are here. Please feel free to interact. Okay, Ruhi says great. That's really nice, Ruhi. I think I would love to hear from the others also. Oh, Niara Sultana says Alhamdulillah, good, wonderful. And hi, Niara. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam, Fariha. Yes, Ruhi, I hope to have a good session. And let me tell you, this is going to be a session of mutual learning. Okay, so it's not just going to be me talking, it's definitely you teaching me something. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your stories and your experiences and incidents from your life. Okay, so feel free to do that. You can always unmute yourselves, even if you do not want to turn on your cameras. Feel free to unmute yourself and talk. Okay. Okay. Naseem Kausar says hi. Khadija. Hi, Naseem. Hi, Rehana. We will begin very shortly. We will just wait for others to come. All right. Okay. So it's 8, and I think this is the right time to start. And Rania says Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah, Rania. Hi, Rubina. Hello, everyone. I've missed a few names. Hello to you all. Okay. So, shall we get started? If I get a big thumbs up from you all, I will get started. Thumbs up. Okay. Okay. Good. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up from a lot of you. Okay, I really, really, really love this interaction from you all. It is motivating me, and I'm really looking forward to this. I really expect you all to unmute and interact. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's get started with today's topic, which is parenting with patience, right? So now that you all are here, I'm sure you all are parents, or probably upcoming parents, and you are just, finding your way through parenting, and you've just started gentle parenting, and you're learning your way with it, and you've stopped your old traditional way, and you're more kinder, more loving towards your children. So you want to enhance your parenting game, and that explains why you all are here. That the For the webinar which Crink is offering. Okay, so let us see what all we are going to be doing today. Okay, so these are the few learning objectives for today. Okay, first is understanding the nature of anger. What is anger, and what is the nature of it? What does it look like? Right? If anger had a personality, if anger had characteristics, what would it be like? Right? And yeah, what does anger look like? And third thing is understanding the detrimental effects of anger. So now, why is anger so bad? Like, what are the effects that anger has in our relationship with our children in the long term? Not just in the parental relationship, but also in every other interpersonal relationship that we share. What are the effects, the long term detrimental effects of anger? And fourth one is identifying triggers. Right? What are the triggers? What are the situations that trigger anger in you, or in all of us? Right? And finally, we're also going to be learning a few effective and applicable techniques that we can use to generally regulate our emotions, as more so with anger. Right? So I hope uh, our learning objectives for today is clear. And Zainab Rahiza, if you could mute yourself, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Right. Okay, now, all right, even before this, okay, let us start with interactions. I would like to know how many of you feel like anger is something that I am dealing with? Anger is something that I'm facing on a daily basis. Just raise your hand. Absolutely. Right. I see a lot of hands getting raised. I think I will raise my hand too, because I think anger is something that we all face, right? And I think it is something that is a part of all of us, right? And sometimes it does get a little out of hand, right? But sometimes it is okay. Sometimes we can manage. Sometimes it's out of hand. Now, let us go back in time and think of a particular incident. Okay. So now I want you all to do something. I want you all to do this with me. I want you to imagine a recent incident that triggered intense anger in you. Okay. It does not have to be a really big situation. It can be something very small also that happened today, or sometime very recent. Right. But that this situation triggered intense anger in you. Okay. So once you all imagine, just give me a thumbs up, and then I will move to the next step. Okay. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. I guess it was very, very recent. Right. So now, if not, I've given write down your feelings and thoughts during that situation. So what were the feelings and thoughts that you had during that situation? So now, if you don't have your writing tools, you can just think, what were the thoughts and feelings you had during that situation? So now, if you're comfortable, I would really appreciate you probably unmuting yourself and telling, or you can put it in the chat box also. So what were the feelings and thoughts that you had during that situation?
Hi, Khadija. Assalamu alaikum. Aisha here.
Walaikum
Aisha
Assalam.
Shah.
Hi, Aisha.
Yeah. So the incident which triggered my anger very recently was basically again something my son was only doing, and I was short of time, and I wanted him to, finish that, uh, getting ready, and he was, taking his time, enjoying whatever, right? And I guess my thoughts were, why doesn't he listen to me? Why do I have to repeat myself so many times? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and what can I do that he listens to me immediately? And okay, okay. And what I mean, is this even a sane expectation that I say something and he listens to me? And then honestly, funnily, the next thought is, why am I even bothering? Why am I even getting angry? So that those were the thoughts at that time. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Aisha. Okay. Anybody else would like to share? Okay, no issues. So, but I'm sure you know what your feelings and thoughts were during that situation, right? So once you felt those things and you thought those thoughts, what did you do? What behavior did you engage in? Naseem, would you like to say something? I see you raising your hand. Okay. So I hope you understood the question. So after you had those feelings and thoughts, what did you do?
Yes, so immediate reaction is to, like, to lash out, verbally abuse the kid actually.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. So Rafia says that she engaged in a bit of lashing out, right? She released her anger onto her child, right? Okay. Thank you, Rafia. Thank you for sharing that. And fourth question is, what were the consequences of your behavior? So now that you have engaged in that particular behavior, what were the consequences of it?
The child was crying, and
Mm-hmm.
we were left with guilt later on. But yeah, for the and I had to give up whatever I was doing. Like
Absolutely.
I was frustrated, and I just took it out on him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
he was initially when he was happy in his happy space, but he started crying, and I also had to leave whatever I was wanted to do. I still couldn't do.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Wonderful. I think Ruhi did a wonderful job explaining how she felt right after the consequences. That she was like, she felt instant guilt, right? She felt very guilty of what she did and she wanted to just make up for it, right? So, this is the entire process of anger, right? There is a trigger, and then there are certain thoughts or feelings, and then there is anger, our behavior that comes out of the anger, and then there are certain consequences that comes with it, right? So this is I typically what an a trigger situation looks like. Okay, so now let us decode this anger, right? Where this is anger is our hero for today. Let us decode anger a little bit more and understand anger, right? So, what is the nature of anger? Who is this anger? If anger was a person, who is it? Right? Anger is an emotion that flies faster than the speed of cognition. Now, let me tell you, anger is not something that happens as a thought, as a process of thoughts, right? It does not precede thoughts. More, I mean, it precedes thought, does not succeed thoughts, right? Anger is more of an intense emotion which is way faster than your thoughts. Even your thoughts can't match up to the speed of your anger, right? It is an instant reaction. When you see your child, for example, playing with the knife or just pouring an entire bottle of milk on the floor, it's not there are no thoughts involved. It's just instant and intense emotion that you experience during that time. Thoughts are not involved when a person is angry, right? When you are angry, there are no thoughts. You're just feeling it. Okay, you can't make sense of what you're feeling. And if a person is trying to make sense to you, you're not letting them do that, because you're not in that mindset to make sense of what you're feeling right now, because it is a very intense experience. Okay, although we want to manage it, sometimes thoughts anger can be very intense and it is really hard to manage it sometimes. And number three, it makes one dumb, and it's a state of trance, and it is emotional hijacking. Why do I say it's dumb? Because when you're angry, we tend to do things that we normally would never do, right? For example, screaming and yelling might not be a part of somebody's personality at all, but anger makes us do that, right? Or hitting somebody or abuse or any other things that might usually not be a part of that person's personality or characteristics will happen during that moment, and it makes a person look completely dumb, right? And it's a state of trance. Why do I say this again? Because when you are in a state of anger, you don't really when you're in an intense fit of rage, you don't understand what is happening in you or around you. You just want to have that release. I'm sure a lot of parents can relate to this, right? When you feel that intense anger in that moment, you don't understand, you can't make sense of what is happening within you or what is happening outside of you, and it is emotional hijacking. Imagine if somebody is hijacking your emotions. That is exactly what an anger situation looks like. Now, I'm sure, although your cameras are turned off, I'm sure a lot of you just nodding your heads, yes, yes, absolutely, because that is the nature of anger, and it is like it is. Okay, Faria Khan says thumbs up. Okay, yeah, because this is the nature of anger, right? I hope you all had a good understanding of what this is. Okay, so now when we are angry, there are certain signs that are happening in our body, right, which conveys that you're angry, right? When we're happy, there are certain things happening in our body. When we're sad, there are certain things happening in our body. Likewise, when you're angry, there are certain things that happens in your body. First is the tightness in your chest, right? Instantly you can feel that your entire body just getting constricted. Like, you know, when you're relaxed, you have a certain body posture, and when you are angry, or when you're stressed, or when you're frustrated, right, there, or anxious, there is a sudden tightness in your chest, right, and increased heart rate. I think that is something that we all know, right? When you're feeling angry, instantly your heart rate shoots up. Like, your heartbeat is like probably like some 200 per minute, right? And third thing is rise in body temperature. Definitely you can feel that also. When you're very angry, your temperature becomes very high. You can feel the heat in your body, right, instantly, right? You can instantly feel the heat in your body. And fourth one is tensed muscles. As I mentioned, your body starts to become constricted. Your muscles tend to tense up and contract it. So there is a tension in all of your muscles, and especially around your face and your neck and your hands, right? There's a lot of tension in your muscles. And pounding headache. This is something that some people may or may not have, but if the anger is very severe or intense, you also tend to have a headache that comes with it. And dizziness. Again, these are during intense outburst situation. You feel very dizzy because there is like a sudden change in the entire uh, mechanism of your body, right? Sudden change in the metabolism, and everything is just fast, super fast. So there is dizziness, and you can also feel that your body starts to shake. Like, after your outburst, when you see your hands, you can feel like your legs and your hands are just shaking and they're trembling, right? So these are some of the bodily signs to know that you are angry indeed. Okay, so now that we understood what happens in the body, let us understand what happens in the mind when we're angry, right? So first thing is feeling tense and unable to relax. Now, I'm sure you can all tell a difference between when you're relaxed and when you're angry, which is clearly not the two same situations. So you're feeling very tense. There is intense tension in your body and in your mind, and it is difficult to relax your mind or calm your mind instantly, right? Second thing is feelings of nervousness. So now anger also couples with some feelings of nervousness, right? It is probably the intense heart rate, which produces feelings like these, right? Nervousness. And third thing is resentment towards the other person, which is obviously some form of hate or anger, like, if I can mention that, towards the other person who is on the other side, right? And fourth thing is mental blackout. So this happens when you have like outbursts, right, where you completely black out. There is, your mind is not able to process exactly what's happening, and you're not conscious of yourself or the environment around you. You're not mindful of what's happening. There is a blackout completely. And fifth one is intense guilt post the outburst. So right after the outburst, once you are just back to your consciousness, you experience intense guilt because of the consequences of what has happened. Probably the other person, in this case the child, is probably crying, or the child is probably hurt, or it is just you feeling those things. I have wronged, I have done something very wrong, I have been working so hard in this journey, and now I messed it all up. So things like that can cause intense guilt as well. Okay, and now let us get a detailed understanding of why is anger not our friend in this parenting journey. So now we're all in this parenting journey, and why is anger not our friend? Although anger is a very natural, instinctive response, sometimes if you find yourself that your anger is impacting the interpersonal relationship that you share with the people around you, then you can understand that this anger is not going to be your friend, right? So we have listed out a few things that tells us why anger is not something that we can have in our parenting journey. First thing is, it strains your parent-child relationship, right? Now, I don't think I have to explain myself here. I'm sure a lot of you know what that means, right? So when there is an intense outburst, it kind of causes a strain between the parent and the child. The child probably, withdraws a little bit, and the mother is feeling guilt. The mother is experiencing regret. Why would I do that? I could have controlled myself. I could have controlled my emotion during the time. It was extremely hard. Why didn't I just do it? Right? Something like that. And second thing is, it affects the self-esteem of the child. So now what children do is, they tend to blame themselves. So children can only process the world through their own self, through their own selves. They have this egocentric view of the world. They view the entire world through them, right? They are the center of attention of their world. So they start to blame themselves for the way the parent reacts. So even if the child had done something small or unintentional, the child starts to feel that I am not a good person, or I am not worthy, which is why my mom is angry at me and I am the one to be blamed, right? So this affects the self-esteem of the child, increases self-doubt in the parent. Now this parent again is doubting her own self, like, am I a good parent? Am I even doing this right? How can I hurt my child like this? Or what have I done? Why am I ruining my relationship with my child? Right? It was such a small thing. Why did I react like that? I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this as well, right? And fourth one is intense feelings of parental guilt. Exactly, which is a lot of guilt associated with your behavior, and it takes quite some time for you to repair and rebuild that trust with your child, right? And next one is teaches poor problem solving and conflict resolution methods. So now children are learning from the parent how to deal with conflicts, or how to manage the difficult emotions. So if we are going to be using anger as our way of dealing with our problems, then the child learns the same, and they learn to imitate what we are exhibiting in our day-to-day life, right? And they use anger as a way of resolving conflicts in their day-to-day life. So this might start right from the childhood, and it might move all the way to their adulthood as well, right? And next thing is poor communication skills in the child. So again, this will impact their communication. Why? Because they will become fearful. So they might not gain the courage to be expressive about their opinions, right? They might not be feel brave enough to tell what they feel. That could happen. Or they could engage in intense verbal aggression or any form of physical aggression, because that is what they have been learning at home, right? And behavioral issues such as aggression, antisocial tendencies in the child. So again, this can become, if it prolongs, if it happens for a long time, this can become a series, I mean, this can become some form of a trauma for the child, and it can cause antisocial tendencies in the child as well. And finally, poor interpersonal relationship and mental health issues. So this will naturally have an impact in their interpersonal relationships, the friendships that they have, and the marital relationships, and the family members and everybody around them. And it can also have an impact on their mental health as well, right? So now, I would like to know, a few more, if you think that there could be any more negative impact because of anger in your child. Do you think there's anything like that? Would anybody like to share? If I have missed something, you can feel free to tell me, or you can also tell
If you
me.
are if you are
Yeah,
getting angry to all children, they are behaving the same.
absolutely. Yes, I think Hasina Banu is right. When we behave in that way, they learn to behave in that way as well, right? So we are the models, so they imitate what we do. So and actions speak louder than words. So even if you're going to tell the child, don't get angry, and do the same and practice the same for them, they are more likely to see and practice our own behaviors rather than our words, right? Okay, right. So now we come to this part. We know anger is bad. We know the detrimental effects of anger, but why do we get angry, right? So I have listed out a few. First thing is family responsibilities. So now that mothers definitely have various roles to play. They have a role to play as a housewife, I mean, as a household, I mean, a homemaker, and as a wife, as a mother, a tutor, right? And so many other things to be taken care of, right? So they have a lot of responsibilities to take care of at home, make sure that everybody is doing okay, everything at home is doing all right, and things are taken care of. So when these things are there, it is natural for for the parent to lose their anger in that moment, right? And second thing is managing household finances. So if Nimita says if we behave rude, kids show tendency to hide things. Absolutely. Yes, they become fearful and they might not be open with the parent. Absolutely. Wonderful point. Right. Managing household finances. So they manage the entire finances of the house and budgeting and all of that. Right. So that is another responsibility. Societal expectations of them as a mother, as a parent. So they have high expectations for all the various roles they have to play. So when these little things that children do come in the way, it is natural for them to lose their temper sometimes, which is very natural. And personal goals. So now lot of you are working professionals and you have your personal goals, and apart from that you might have other goals as well that you would like to accomplish. So these are things that you're working on, and things like your children's behavior might come in the way and it can lead to anger. And career demands. So working professionals, again, you have intense career demands which your career expects you to be present at all times, and probably you're giving a presentation. So there are various situations, right? And your child coming in between or doing something, it can cause anger in you. Household chores, right? Household chores is a whole another responsibility in itself. It's not easy at all to be taking care of everything at home, right? So you want to keep your place clean, you've just cleaned your place, and then your child comes and just throws everything everywhere. So that can be very frustrating for a mother. And finally, running errands, which is basically everything included, and all at once, just you fulfilling all of these things and making sure everything is okay. And you as a parent, I'm sure you are feeling sometimes frustrated with the things that's happening in your family, probably conflicts in your relationships, in your family relationship. There are so many things happening, right? So it is totally normal and totally okay for a parent to experience this anger, right? So I would like to know, would somebody like to share certain experience or certain incident from your life? If I'm sure you'll be able to relate to all the points that I've mentioned, can somebody share one or two experiences? It'll be beneficial for the others also. Someone? Somebody is willing? Okay. No issue. That's okay. All right. Okay. So now we come to the most important part, which is to effective strategies to successfully deal with anger. Okay. But before this, I want to know, I genuinely want your interaction. So how do you deal with your anger? Okay, Rafia says, what situations do you want us to share? Any situation that probably caused anger, or if you were able to relate yourself to these points that I mentioned, why parents get angry. Were you able to find yourself in a situation like that?
Yeah, I think probably case covers all of the situations, right? Every situation is either one of the above.
Right. Okay, Niara, would you like to share something? Okay. Indu, I think you raised your hand, right? Indu? Okay. So tell me, how do you...
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
What I do is when I get angry, I go wash my face.
Okay, wow. I've never heard of that. And does that help you?
Definitely.
Okay, that's really nice. I think that is, if others, if you've tried a lot of things and it didn't work, I think you can probably try this. You can go wash your feet. Wonderful, Nasima. Anybody else would like to? Fariha says it's like making wudu. Absolutely. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Nimita.
Actually, I am not a multitasker. If I
Mm-hmm.
am doing anything household chores, if my kids come and disturb me by asking any doubts or anything, I will become very angry.
Right, right, right. Yeah. So when you're taking care of a lot of things at once,
Yeah.
and you're just making sure things are okay, and a child comes in and it's like, Mama, Mama, tell me this, tell me this.
Get to me story, tell me that thing, this thing, what is that, what is this? Um, I feel frustrated and irritated. Sometimes I close my kitchen.
Right. Thank you, Nimita, for being so candid and so open. That's really nice of you. Okay. Zima says most of the time I walk out in front of them. Okay. All right. Okay. Nice. Anybody else? I think I'm really enjoying the responses. I would love to hear more.
I feel like, yeah, so as you can see, and I'm sure you can hear my background, right? So, yeah, so it's like he cannot stop. He has to be a part of my presentation or conversation or whatever. And no matter how many times I tell him, you have to wait, you have to wait, it doesn't register. So right now, this entire presentation that we are having is something that deals with this kind of situation. So maybe, I'm able to overlook it, but sometimes I'm probably in a work meeting or, having an important conversation somewhere. And in the background, this kind of impatient and persistent poking non-stop, right? So that is really, really difficult. And I think one of my ways of dealing with the anger is I tend to use threatening then, now.
Sorry, I
And
couldn't hear you. You tend to?
I tend to use threatening, like, I tend to threaten him. Like,
Right.
now I'll throw this toy away, I'll throw that toy away. If you don't do this,
Right.
I'm not going to do that. And I know it's not okay, but that's like, how what I end up doing when I'm in a situation like this, like, like right now, such a situation. So I
Right.
tend to do that. Yeah.
Right. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure we all
Assalamu
have our
alaikum.
own ways. Walaikum assalam. Hello,
Yeah,
hi
sister.
Mariam.
No, actually, my daughter's gadget. My name is Aisha. Uh,
Okay.
the, what I'd like to share is people, apart from these things, there are also health concerns in certain mothers. Like, for example, me, I have multiple autoimmune conditions. And due to that, even if I don't want to take certain medications, there are certain times there are flare-ups and you need to take steroid, and steroids first thing is like the side effect is you will get angry. It's like that that is the thing, anxiety, depression, and these kind of things. So what I do is now, alhamdulillah, my kids are a little grown up. Elder one is 14 and younger one is 11. When they were small, it was a little difficult for me, but now since they have grown up, I sit with them and I talk to them. Like, see, I don't want to get angry, and since they can understand, okay, they can understand. I tell them, I talk to them, and I tell them these are the situations. So even a little small thing can trigger me, actually, because there are many triggers which happens. I'm all the time calm, but certain things trigger me. Like, you don't give me the situation that it triggers me. Like do your things, make your space clean. Don't make me come and if I do twice, thrice, I tell them. Don't make me come and tell the fourth time. And it has really worked out. Like even yesterday, I had to go to the doctor. My daughter
Mm-hmm.
was not coming when I told her to like come for the oiling. Before that, I will do the oiling for you. Tomorrow you can take hair wash. She wasn't
Right.
listening because she had some certain things to finish. Then I told, okay, by the time I come, let's make it as a challenge. By the time I come, let's see if you have oiled yourself. And then I was like really happy when I came. She had literally done, she has never done that oiling stuff. She doesn't like oil actually. She has done that. And I was really happy for that. Then next day I was like I hugged her. It was late there. Oh, they were already going to sleep. So the next morning I hugged her and I told, I was really happy that you had done it. So we can do these kind of things because we need to find ways. Anger is anything which always we will have. It's we cannot escape whatever we do. One is we can say auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim, drink water, change the situations. Whatever we do, we still tend to get angry. So what we can do is, if the kids are small, we have to try our best. But if the kids are growing and they are little, we can make them sit calmly and we can tell them the situation. This is
Mm-hmm.
the thing, and this is making me angry. So next time I'm angry, please help me out in that time. You can tell me, Mama, you're getting angry. What can I do for you for that? Next time I will not do it. Because I have tried these things, and Alhamdulillah, I have found many differences with my kids. Literally, I have found differences because I thought just shouting, yelling, it's not working out. They are getting upset. I'm getting upset. And mainly they are getting upset in sense they are moving away from me. That was the thing I saw. They
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
just sitting in a corner. And I did not wanted that. I wanted them to come and talk with me, these kind of things. So I thought, okay, let me, because they're growing, let's just talk to them and just make pointers to them. These are the things. Now I'm taking my steroid, so I will be angry. And they were like sort of anxious. Oh my God, Mama, you're going to take your steroid, so you'll be angry now. It was like that. I said, yeah, so you have to be cautious now. I told them, no, I just put it on them. Now you have to be cautious. Don't make things which will make me angry. It was like that. Thank you.
Okay.
Just wanted to share. Thank you, Jazakallah khair.
This this was amazing. I think what you just shared is something that's going to help all the parents here. I really like how all of you are interactive, and I think Mariam, you've shared some. Sorry, not Mariam, Aisha. You shared something very, very beneficial here because your way of dealing with it shows the kind of like awareness that you have about your situation. And like you mentioned, as with children, it definitely is a bigger task because when they're growing up, they're in a better position to understand your situation. So if it's a teenager, probably just having an adult conversation with them, and letting them know that this is my situation, these are my triggers, please understand and do things accordingly. Right? I think this is extremely good. This is very nice. And like she told, anger is not something that we can cure. Right? If you see, this is anger is something that we can deal with, that we can probably keep under check and probably manage, but that's not a cure. We don't have a cure for anger because anger is a very natural instinctual emotion that every human has, right? And I don't think it is okay for us to say that you should never get angry. I guess there are certain situations that do demand anger. However, controlled and limited amount of anger is healthy. When it goes beyond the boundaries, when it goes way forward, I mean, when it goes outside of your control, and it is when you see it physically affecting the relationships that you share with people, and it is coming in between the quality of relationship that you have with the people around you, then you know that this is something that has to be dealt with, right?
Just one more thing I would like to add. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No problem.
Because I did a short diploma course in personality development. I mean, what is
Mhm.
that called? Islamic psychology, it was.
Right.
And I took up the topic anger management, actually. It was my husband who
Right.
suggested take up that. So there
Mm-hmm.
was one thing when I was just researching on that, there was one thing because deep within, I don't want anyone to tell what is there, but deep within we know, when you are extremely angry, you do tend to, from your heart, it just comes, even though you don't blurt it out, it just comes from your heart, l- like God punish you or something like that, because we do have it. Even I have jitters in my hands now, even thinking about that. So there is a dua when when you keep practicing this, I have found this difference. Like God will punish you. People tend to say that, even as mothers, we tend to say this is a deep feeling which nobody wants to accept it. But actually, when you think about it, you must have told at least once, in anger, everyone says like that. So what we can say is there is a dua for that. We have to practice it. The dua is Allahumma aslihhum. Aslih is to show them the right path. Oh Allah, show them the right path. So when you're angry and you want to blurt out something, even in your heart, this is the thing you should say. Allahumma aslihhum. Oh Allah, guide them to the straight path. And it has worked. Alhamdulillah, it has worked a lot. Thank you.
Wonderful. I'm really glad that you found something that is working for you, right? Because I think a lot of us are here in that journey, right? We're on that journey of finding things that work for us. For example, recently somebody mentioned that they wash their feet, right? And that seems to work for her. So I think we all have, some certain things that will work for us, and I think it's important and essential for us to find out what that thing is, right? Okay. So now, yeah. So Aisha, everybody has a request for you to send the dua. If you could type it in the chat box for everybody, that will be great.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to find the chat box where it is. Where can I find it?
It's on the, if you're using your laptop, it's on the right side, the corner.
It's an iPad.
Okay. Then probably you might have like,
Okay, I'll ask my daughter. Maybe she
yes,
must be knowing. Yeah,
yeah, sure.
thank you.
Okay.
Or you can just share it on the WhatsApp group if that's easier for you,
Yeah, do we have a group? I don't know if are we in a group?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, there
Okay,
is a Crink
the
group.
person who contacted me for the thing, shall I put it, send it to her and she can forward it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's mostly Shruti or through Shruti or Shameen, whoever.
Okay, I guess somebody already sent it in the chat box. Yes, yes. It's already
Yeah.
there in the chat box. No problem.
Talking about situations, another situation is usually, just before the periods start off.
Mm-hmm.
And so this happens every month. So every month there'll be like 2 days where I'm like really irritated. And I think it's not just me. I think it should be a lot of women out there.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yes.
we get really irritated, and then sometimes you don't even realize, okay, it's time. And then it's only when your periods start off you realize, oh my god, I was angry and upset because of this.
Yes,
And
definitely.
it end up being the point of, they bear the brunt of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I think you all are mentioning the causes that I haven't mentioned, right? I've mentioned very generic ones. And like you told, like premenstrual syndrome, that's a very real thing. And like Aisha told, she like steroids, like medications can sometimes cause, this hormonal imbalance and anger, anger and outbursts and all of that. So I guess we all have to take those situations also under consideration because we might miss a few of these things. Okay. All right. So now, wonderful interaction from you all. I am really enjoying all the insights from you. Continue doing this till the end. Okay. So right now we will move on to the if finding out the strategies to successfully deal with anger. So first and the foremost thing, most important thing is to identify your triggers, right? So now we all have triggers. There are certain situations that will trigger you, like trigger you instantly, even without a doubt. For example, saying a certain word to you might trigger that anger response or certain behavior, right? Certain engaging in a certain behavior, somebody doing something, right? For some people, if somebody touches their hair they don't like, there are so many things like that. So first thing that you need to do is to identify your triggers, right? For that you have to monitor your anger, identify the situations that seem to trigger the anger response in you, maintain a journal to write down the situation and your response during the situation and evaluate over a period of time, right? So what you can do is identify the situations that caused anger in you. Probably write it down. In this situation caused anger, this situation caused anger. So after a period of time you will be able to have a clear understanding of, okay, so these are the situations that cause anger. So this will give you a guideline. This will probably just narrow your process down way further. It will make you understand that anger is not you and you are not anger. There are certain triggers that we all have, and if I work on these triggers I will be able to successfully deal with my anger, right? So always make sure to identify your anger and you can maintain a journal for this. So I think that's the best thing that you can do. So first thing is to identify, and second thing is to deal with your feelings. So now, as I've mentioned earlier, anger is an emotion that you can't make sense of, right? Your no amount of cognition or thought is involved when you're feeling that anger, when that intense anger is there. So what you can do is before you rationalize a situation or just talk yourself through it, deal with your feelings. You're feeling anger, so work on that. Okay, anger is an emotion which runs faster than thoughts and therefore precedes it, right? It is not a gradual or conscious process of emotional experiences. Anger usually comes with feelings such as anxiety, depression, frustration, worry, fear, or hurt. So in most cases, anger is caused as a result of an underlying need that you have. Underlying need. Probably you got angry at a child because you have the need to be clean. You expect yourself to be a clean person. And to see that your child is throwing all the things around makes you angry, right? In case of marital relationships, right? There is some need that probably you want to spend time with your husband more. And when he comes home late, that causes the anger. So anger is just an unmet emotional need that a person experiences, right? So try to identify what that need is, and probably that will help you communicate it directly, right? And anger, if suppressed, can lead to long-term resentment or issues in interpersonal relationships. However, you can't keep it in for a really long time, because the longer you're going to keep it in, one day it's going to come out in the form of an outburst. So it is very essential to just give yourself a healthy form of release, right? Just something. For some people, it is probably punching a pillow. For some people, it's just journaling, or for some people, it's just just staring something. Right? I would like to know, do you all have something like that? Because it's not possible for us to lash out on the other person all the time, but you still experience this anger and you want to release it. So, is there anything that you do in particular? Anybody would like to share?
I
Yeah,
write letters.
actually,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, actually, what I'm doing nowadays, I wanted to implement actually. I'm trying. I am counting my anger how many times per day. So if
Okay.
I'm counting, I think I am very concerned about to reduce the number. I'm
Right.
very conscious. So I can, it's an excellent method. And then what I'm thinking, usually we are not angry with our colleagues, we are not angry with the husband's family because we are respecting them. We have no way to anger because we are controlling our anger in front of them. But we are expressing our anger, whatever we our feelings, we are expressing in front of our children. So what I am doing is I am finding the happiness in each and every small things that they are doing. So,
Wonderful.
mm,
Wonderful.
uh, so they're doing so many things. The only difference between them and us is the age difference. All are the creations of God, all having the same things. The only difference is the age. So I'm considering the all each and every happiness what they are giving me.
Beautiful, very, very nice. So I think Hasina Banu is doing the first point that I mentioned, which is to identify your triggers. So she seems to be having a maintaining a anger journal and monitoring the number of times she experiences anger, and she seems to be using, just trying to look at the positive side of what's happening at her side. Beautiful, very well done.
And I read in one journal that the mother is the one who knows the best in the world. There is no one other than a mother that each child knows. So you are the one who knows your child rather than anyone in this world. So if we are not understanding our kids' feelings, who
Mm-hmm.
will understand?
Absolutely. Okay, good one. Thank you for sharing that, Hasina. All right. So, if you ask me personally, what I do is to release that anger is I imagine the person is on the other side and I have a full blown conversation with them, but there's literally nobody on the other side, right? Whatever I want to share, I just share it, but then there's no person, so it's not causing any harm, any issues in my relationship, but I also get the satisfaction of the release. So, I think it's important to find something like that for yourself that will give you the satisfaction of a release, but is also not affecting or impacting your relationships negatively. Right? Okay. So we'll move
I
on to the next one.
like to share what I do. I
Mm-hmm.
write I write letters to Allah, to our Creator.
Beautiful. Okay. Right. So that's wonderful. Writing letters is something that I always vouch for. So I'm sure that's working for you, Nasima. Okay. So the next one is acknowledge your bodily symptoms. As we mentioned earlier, so there are some certain bodily changes that happens in your body when you are angry, right? So what you have to do is once you've dealt with the feeling, just make sure that you acknowledge the changes in your body, right? So you can just instantly sense, okay, my heartbeat is higher, my body is tensed up, the temperature in my body is going high, I'm feeling a little shaky right now, and like things like that, right? So acknowledge all of these and try taking just 3 deep breaths and slow down your breathing because your breathing will be very rapid and very shallow at that moment, right? So just try taking 3 deep breaths to slow down your breathing. Okay, so this will help you calm your body down and reduce the anger response. Your body, when you take deep breaths, that then your body is just telling you, and you are just telling your body that there is no trigger. I am perfectly all right, and I am feeling relaxed. Right? Because you take deeper breaths only when you're relaxed, when you're sleeping, or probably just lying down or doing something very calm. Right? So when you do this deep breathing, it's like you communicating your body that you are feeling calmer, right? So you can try doing this. And followed by this, you come to the most important part, which is managing your anger. So now that you have acknowledged your triggers, and then you have dealt with the feeling of it, and then you have identified your, you have acknowledged your bodily symptoms, and slowed down your breathing. Now what happens is you're going to manage your anger. How do we do that? So when it comes to parenting, it involves a lot of situational triggers that may not have any underlying emotional need or resentment. So I mentioned earlier that anger comes out as a result of underlying emotional need that you have. So that could be applicable when you have an adult on the other side, right? When you have certain needs or certain expectations from that person. However, when it's a child, when it's a toddler or an infant, there is no underlying need, emotional need towards that person or resentment towards them. It's just what they do in that moment that causes the anger. There is no logic, or there is no resentment or any hard feelings toward the child, right? So if your child is doing something that makes you angry, count to 10 before you react. I know this is not easy, but if done consciously, it's very much possible. In that moment, in that bit of rage, it is not an easy task to do, but it's a possible task to do, right? Count to 10 before you react, or better, but something better to do is count from backwards, 10 to 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, like that. Okay, till 0. So what happens during that time is you are distracting your mind, and you're making your brain focus on another task. Meanwhile, you're forgetting the trigger and the anger response that you're experiencing. So your body naturally starts to calm down, because you are engaging in another activity which does not require any of these bodily or mental symptoms of anger, right? So this is something that you can do. Try to find positive rather than negative words, right? Like how Hasina Banu mentioned, that she focuses on the positive, every little positive that the child does. So like that, even if you want to communicate something to your child, make sure to use positive words and positive sentences rather than negative sentences. So something like, do not why are you being such a difficult child, or why are you troubling me so much? Instead of that, you can say something like, you're a wonderful child, and I know you will not do something like this. Or something like, you're a very nice child, so you can try avoiding this, can you? Something like that. So they start to view themselves on a better light, on a more positive light, which will naturally reduce the way, or which will naturally prevent them from doing that in the future, because now they see themselves as a good person. A good child will not do something like this. So this is something that you can do, and let your child know that it is their behavior that you don't like and not them. So children, when you scold them or when you yell at them, they naturally associate it to them as a person, not the behavior, right? So they naturally feel that they are a bad person and they are blameworthy. They are not okay. They don't look at the behavior as not okay. So they feel like, I am a bad person, or I am not worthy of love, or my mother hates me because I am not good enough for her, right? So instead of choosing characteristic words, words that will describe their characteristics. Tausima. Okay, thank you. I was going to say, please mute yourself. Okay, so instead of making comments about them as a person, you can focus more on the behavior that they do and try to work on that. Okay, so I hope you all understood the steps. We can quickly go through all the steps if you would like. Okay. So first thing is identify your triggers. Write down what are the triggering situations. Second thing is deal with your feelings. Don't try. You might not have to rationalize what you're feeling. Just deal with it and help yourself find that release, right? And understand your unmet emotional need. Okay, and acknowledge your bodily symptoms. So whatever you're feeling, whatever your body is experiencing, acknowledge that, and try to take 3 deep breaths and slow down your breathing. And slow it down and calm your breathing. Okay, and next thing is you manage your anger. So here you might not have an underlying emotional need or resentment towards your child. So just try counting to 1 to 10, or from backwards, from 10 to 0, right? And try making your words more positive. I can totally understand if you would, in that moment, you want to say certain things, right? But wait for it and give yourself a release after the situation. I know it's excruciating, it's extremely difficult, but for the sake of your parent-child relationship, I guess we all have to do that, right? And focus more on the behavior and not on them. Okay, all right. And above everything, so this is the most important thing, above everything, seek help, right? So now we're all in that journey of trying to do something, do things all by ourselves, and that explains why we all are here. We want to learn, we want to just do self-help strategies, we want to learn by ourselves, and you know equip ourselves, which is wonderful, right? It's wonderful to be independent and to be able to help ourselves. However, it's completely all right to take help if you need, right? If you feel like it is intensely affecting your mental health, and if you feel like this is something that you have been struggling with for quite some time and it is affecting the quality of your life, it is completely okay for you to seek help from a professional, right? To seek help from a professional who will be taking care of this. And on that note, Crink has initiated something from our side to make your parenting journey better, which is Stress Less Parent Better. So, this is a 1 month program for parents who are dealing with stress and anger related issues, where you will be assigned to an individual parent mentor like me, who will help you in this process of you know identifying your triggers and individually working with you in helping you manage your anger and your stress effectively, right? So if this is something that you might be able to benefit from, feel free to contact Shruti or Shameen from Crink. Okay. So I'm a parent mentor at Crink myself, and there are various other well-trained parent mentors also who will be able to, help you. But if not at Crink, with anybody, right? I think seeking help for your mental health issues is something that is mandatory, something very important, because a lot of people who deal with anger issues, right? They mention how intense guilt they experience, how much of an intense guilt. There are a lot of clients that I am talking to who are mentioning some of the who are mentioning anger as a big issue, and that explains why we chose anger as the topic for today, because that seems to be a struggle for a lot of parents. Stress and anger seems to be a struggle for many parents, and that explains why we chose this topic today, and also that explains why we came up with an initiative like this, that is to stress less and parent better. So feel free to sign up for it, and I'm sure that will be beneficial for you also. Okay. And apart from this, there are certain things that we can do on a daily basis, right? On a daily basis, daily habits that we can inculcate to make sure that we are generally feeling a little bit more calmer, right? First thing is physical. So these things are, I'm sure all of you already know about it, and there have been various research and studies done to prove its effectiveness time and again. And that explains why we are mentioning it and discussing about it today as well. First thing is physical activity. So again, healthy form of release for anger, physical activity is your friend, because physical activity releases all of that stress hormones and cortisol that your body produces as a result of anger. So it gives you that proper release, but also making you feel good at the same time. Second is warm shower. So for somebody, it was washing her feet, right? Like that, warm shower can also release that that stress and the tension from your body and make you feel a lot more calmer. That is something that you can try. And breathing exercise. So during the moment of anger and outside the moment of anger, breathing exercise frequently helps you feel a lot more calmer and more in peace, and helps you deal with your anger much effectively, right? Journaling. Now, journaling is something that works for a lot of people. It does not necessarily have to be about anger. Anything that you would like to journal. So today we have a lot of resources for journaling. There are so many prompts available. There are so many journals with daily prompts, and journaling with various activity suggestions that you can definitely try. And next thing is nature walks. So now nature is the best stress buster. I'm sure a lot of you can agree with me on that. So taking a short walk just outside your house, getting that fresh breath of air is naturally going to make you feel a lot more relaxed and a lot more energized. And finally, engaging in any form of self-fulfilling activities. Now it is very essential for you to be filling your own positivity cup, right? Because how can you pour from an empty cup? Right? So you are expected to be a nurturing parent for your children. So if you are not nurturing to your own self, and if you're not fulfilling your own mental health and emotional needs, and your own self needs for your own self, you might not be able to provide for others. So make sure to engage in something that will make you feel good about yourself. It is cooking for some people, it is knitting for some people, it is dancing for some people, it is reading, it is a lot of things. So whatever helps you feel good about yourself, make sure to engage in that, right? So I guess somebody mentioned barefoot in grass or sand. That's our sand. That is very nice. Yes. And Zuleha asked, should it be cold shower? I mean, if you prefer cold shower, it's cold shower. If you prefer it warm, it's warm. That's completely up to you. Right. So what all do you engage in? So is there any other things that you do to make yourself feel good or try to calm yourself down? What kind of activities do you engage in? Anybody wants to share?
Yes, Khadija.
Yeah, hi Saleha. Yes.
Yeah, so mm, when I'm working, I used to express to my husband that I am, I'm getting irritated now. I'm getting angry. So
Mm-hmm.
please take care of the situation. Mostly, I get triggered by when my kids fight with each other. So they're just 10 and 8 and a half, my elder kids, and so I throw out, or I put the entire responsibility for that moment, and I move off from that scenario, and I tend to keep quiet. So that makes me control my anger, and I'm completely out of that scene, and I'll give the the responsibility to my husband, so he'll handle at that time. Sometimes when we don't have patience, he might be having that, or maybe somebody else in the house might be able to handle that situation. And whenever I'm working, when my 3-year-old toddler would keeps on coming and asking me, mama, I want this, I want that, I used to tell him, right now I can't get up. That's one of the tip that I got after parent mentorship from Crink. I'm not I can't come up now, please go and ask to this person or another person who's available there. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to happily, calmly handle that, rather than, when the kids keep on asking us questions, when we tend to go and do that, they'll feel that we are always available and we can do it for them. So when we
Excellent.
say, right
Excellent.
now I'm not available, I have this work, so please go and ask them. They'll give you the water, or they'll give you the book, or whatever the kid is asking for. So they'll get the feeling that we have another work, and he understands that, okay, I'm sitting for work. So at this point, I should not be disturbed. So that small kind of realizations comes into the kid's head, so they'll understand that very well. So I think after I've got all these tips from Crink, I've been able to handle a lot of things.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And to be able to walk out of that situation is not at all easy, because in that moment you want to give yourself that release, and only the right kind of release, right? So to be able to do that is not easy at all. So lovely. Very, very nice. Okay. Anybody else? Any kind of habits that you engage in on a daily basis that helps you manage your anger way better?
Actually, all mothers they're getting angry because of another reason. That they have a feeling that I'm doing these things to all, but they why they are reacting me like that. So it's better for my experience and from Frink also I got the trick and tips that we have to uh, find the time for ourselves, me time.
Absolutely. Yes,
So we will
definitely.
not feel any guilty feeling that we are doing ourselves whatever we want.
Definitely.
For example, exercise. I'm a working mom, I'm a doctor. So what I'm doing, I'm making my kids are homeschooling, so I'm making them to sleep at 8:30 like that. So I'm also going to sleep. Why I wanted to wait to do all these things and then I'm late to bed. So I'm going at around 9:30. I'm not late night to sleep. So I am waking as early as possible, and then they are also waking up. Just like that, if I feel that I am very tired, I'm going taking rest. That is the
Wonderful.
thing that I am doing.
That's really nice. uh, Engaging in self time, And that's what I mentioned, making sure that your emotional needs and your own self needs are being taken care of, right? Like how you're pampering your own child, you're making sure that the bed is completely clean, and then you're giving them healthy food, and you're being lovely, and you're cuddling them, you're giving them hugs and kisses. But at the end of the day, we fail to give the same kind of hugs and kisses to our own selves, right? The only way we can give these hugs and kisses is by probably engaging in something that we truly enjoy, right? So I think it's essential to at least take a small amount of your time from your day to make sure that you are engaging in some form of self-care, right? All right, okay. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Okay, and thank you so much for coming today, all of you. It was wonderful. It was way better than I expected, because each and every one of you interacted and actively participated and shared your valuable insights today. I think this was a great session of learning experience for all of us, because all of us had something to take away from, right? Apart from the session, I think each and every parent had something very, very valuable to share with others. I'm sure a lot of you, were able to relate to the other parents and gain something. So I have definitely learned a lot as well from you all. So I hope you continue your journey with Crink. And if you haven't started, I think it's time for you to do that. Okay, because I would really like to, interact and engage with you all. And I hope the session was beneficial for you. I hope you were able to learn something from today's session, and I genuinely hope that you will be able to apply this and you find it beneficial and effective for you. So thank you so much for coming today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'm hoping to see you all very soon. Good evening.